Guys, the Chinese airlines, or at least Shanghai Airlines, might be incredible.
In this week's video, we're flying business class with Shanghai Airlines. Or should I say China Eastern? It's honestly a bit hard to tell sometimes with the branding. Let's go see how good their top-of-the-line business class seat is, how good or maybe bad the in-flight entertainment is, if you don't speak Mandarin, of course, and also learn a bit about de-icing. There's a bit of engineering magic behind it that I didn't expect.
Alright, flying Shanghai Airlines today. They're owned by China Eastern. Very much the same airline. Same seat, similar plane. So let's check in. Yeah, and then Shenzhen afterwards. Simon Dean? Yeah, were you asking a question?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm, very comfortable around women.
Okay, I don't even have a ticket for the flight I'm not going to catch. We'll get to that in a sec. This is a strangely large space. Why is it so open? It's absolutely huge. I guess we got the whole security stuff now. Say goodbye to you for a minute. Alright, so I've just been wandering trying to find this and I've walked the whole length. I got no idea what's what here. No, that's cold, okay. Kind of scary when it says it can do hot. But interestingly, I guess, Japan Airlines there, ANH is there. And they both depart at the same time. Japan, pure competition.
So, what kind of business did you have in Japan?
I've never been to Japan.
I like these. Leave leftover drinks here. Instead of putting full cups in the bin, getting liquid everywhere, they tell you to just leave the cups. And then I guess someone comes and empties them. I don't know. It's the small stuff. Yeah, flight's in an hour and a half, though it was delayed. So it was delayed because of the incoming plane. So I guess who knows? It'll depend on if that plane shows up and all that jazz. There's also tons of snow and generally terrible weather around here. When we landed this morning, I couldn't believe they were allowed to land. Visibility must have been, I don't even know the minimums and all that. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a pilot yet. This is a ridiculously shiny and clean elevator. It's not an Otis though, so I'm not sure if I trust it. Not bad. Small, but it's nice.
My mouth is on fire, so hot.
So everyone just kind of left the lounge. I'm not sure if they're closing or what the deal is. It's either boarding starting or they're closing the lounge. Because I think the lounge, it's my understanding that the lounge does close at 8:10. And so it's 8:45 now. I don't know, the flight was supposed to be about now, but it was delayed till 9:10. So I don't know who owns the cost of that, if or when they have to keep staff on for another half an hour. Is that Korean Airlines? And it's one of those things where it's like, what goes around comes around? Or is it a Shanghai Airlines has to pay the bill there? I don't know. It's all the interesting world of airline economics that I have no idea about. If someone works in it, please comment down below. Anyway, let's go see what flying Shanghai Airlines is like. It's basically going to be China Eastern, but I'm not going to get to fly them. So my original plans were to fly from Seoul to Shanghai to Shenzhen. I got this it was $300 all in business class, and it was all in their lie flat international configurations. I just wanted to see what the fancy business class is like on China Eastern, Shanghai Airlines. And then I was going to catch a flight from Shenzhen to Beijing, and this was going to be on a 747, the old 747-400s. Air China still has a couple of them flying around. And I booked this in a month ago. I was like, this is going to be awesome. It was going to be an economy, but apparently the economy is really cool. At least on one of them, it's really ancient. It's from the 90s or something. I checked my flight this morning and it's no longer a 747 from Shenzhen. And that was one of these main draw cards for me. So I did find another 747 flight from Shanghai to Beijing. I'm sitting on the top deck on a 747. I think it might be a 400. That's going to be awesome, basically. I'm actually quite looking forward to that one. So yes, basically rebooked a bunch of things. A bit sad because I'm missing out on China Eastern. I'm gonna have to just basically ditch that flight to Shenzhen. That's the way things work out. It was a good deal, so I'm losing out a bit money wise, but also This routing just makes more sense. Yeah, I've got to do my Duolingo for the day. I've completely forgotten. Morado y condonzo azul.
Do you even know how smart I am in Spanish? Of course you don't.
I got the hard okay there. She's like... Thank you. So, I'm right here. Okay. This is very nice. There's a door.
Hello, drink water or orange juice?
Just water.
Water.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. We have beef rice and duck rice.
Okay. Get the duck rice. Thanks. Guys, the Chinese airlines, or at least Shanghai Airlines, might be incredible. This seat is incredible. Well, first impressions. I don't really know what I was expecting. Initial impressions are this, it's got a door, it's very private, big screen, healthy-ish amount of storage, I guess. We've got some spots to put some stuff. There's even a little bit more here, tiny bit more there, but really not a whole lot. Storage is fine. It's not incredible, but we're definitely pulling into something here. I don't actually know. I think they said de-icing maybe. Maybe there's a queue for de-icing.
It was indeed de-icing. Now, I live in Melbourne. Our winters barely get below 10 degrees Celsius, so I really didn't know anything about de-icing, but I did happen to see this recently at Melbourne Airport. This led me to get pretty curious and I did some research. Firstly, you can't have ice on wings. Even just 0.5 millimeter of ice can reduce lift by over 30% and increase drag by 40%. Ice on wings have caused many crashes in the past, so it's something that is taken very seriously by airlines and pilots. You might be thinking, what about during flight? Why are they de-icing on the ground? What happens in the air? Well, commercial jets have anti-ice systems built into their wings, but these systems are only designed to keep ice from forming during flight, where there's already a lot of airflow and engine-generated heat. On the ground, those same systems can't generate enough heat or airflow to handle large amounts of ice or snow buildup that can accumulate while the plane is parked. In other words, they're good at preventing ice in the air, but not at removing ice or snow that's already sitting on the plane before takeoff. Hence the need for these ground-based de-icing trucks. De-icing is a bit more complicated than I originally assumed, and way more expensive than I could ever imagine. So let's go over it now. Firstly, there are 4 different types of aviation de-icing fluids used today. They are known simply as type 1, 2, 3, and 4. These fall into 2 categories: de-icing fluid and anti-icing fluid. De-icing fluid simply removes any ice built up on the fuselage and wings, whereas anti-icing fluid prevents ice from forming in the first place. There's a bunch of chemistry behind how these all work. They're all mostly comprised of glycol with a bunch of additives, but let's just cover their use cases. Type 1 is used for de-icing. It's heated up, mixed with normal water, and then sprayed onto the planes. It offers a short window of protection from ice buildup, 6 to 11 minutes if we want to get specific, but is primarily used just to get rid of ice and snow. This fluid is not very viscous, in other words, it's not very thick, so it runs off the plane very quickly. You pretty much use this stuff when it's not snowing or raining, and it's not that cold, but you've got ice on the plane. The other 3 types of fluid are much thicker and offer anti-icing properties, as in they stop the ice from building up on wings. Now here's the thing that I really didn't consider, and this all became more fascinating once I wrapped my head around it. The viscosity matters a lot here. You want this magic anti-icing fluid to sit on the surfaces of the plane while you taxi, creating a barrier that stops ice from forming. But you want it to shear off during takeoff, otherwise it can have a similar effect to just having ice on the wings, i.e. 30% less lift and a 40% increase in drag. Type 2 and Type 4 fluids are used on big commercial jets, with Type 4 being the longest lasting. The interesting thing here is both of these are formulated to get blown off at 100 knots, a speed jets will only reach during takeoff. Type 3 fluid is designed for small aircraft and it gets blown off at 60 knots. Engineering solutions are so often simple in nature but complex in practice. And this is another case of that. Just have the fluid get blown off during takeoff. It's quite a simple idea, but engineering these fluids to actually do that in practice is the complex bit. If you want to know what type of fluid is being sprayed onto the jet that you're on, here's the colors. And now finally, the price. Holy moly, this stuff can be expensive. For this example, I'm gonna use Munich Airport. They publish all their fees online and they do a really good job of going through the different options. But let's just start off with you don't have a contract and you're showing up in your 747 private jet. Unfortunately for you, it's snowing like crazy. You've got to get the heavy contamination treatment. This will cost you just over 77,000 euros.
Wait, what?
Of course, this is just if you're showing up and you don't have any pre-existing contracts with the airport. Munich Airport also does a pretty good job of explaining the contracts if, for instance, you're trying to run an airline. I'm not going to go through it here, but essentially you just pay a total fee over the entire winter schedule, and then they will de-ice up to 12% of those expected flights, essentially included in the price. All you have to do is pay for the fluid itself. They do publish the fluid prices here as well. It's not exactly cheap. You're paying over double if you need the fluid heated up as well. But from what I could find from some Google research, airlines are paying anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 to get a 737 de-iced, and it's getting closer to 10,000 USD if it's a 747, A380, that sort of thing. But if you've got your private 747, you're looking at near $100,000.
All right, we're still waiting. While the waiting continues, we might as well knock off some more things about this experience. I want to talk about the in-flight entertainment. You might be thinking, you haven't actually taken off yet. You haven't even watched it yet. How can you have an opinion on it, right? Well, if you're Chinese and you're flying this, it's going to be completely different. But from my Australian Western perspective, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16 Hollywood movies. But look, in short, there's not a whole lot of movies here. I can't actually figure out the total count, but I'm going to guess 20 like Western movies. And then we really know it's good because you come over here, there's not a single Western TV show, I think. There's just not much content at all going on here. Let's see, Super Wings. Oh, wait, is this a kid's? Okay, so on a kid's show, they open a kid's show with a baked in. It's baked in, like that's what I was checking, right? It's part of the video file. It's baked in. It's not just running that ad because like they know I'm an adult, right? It's baked into the video. They start the kids show with an ad for cognac. If you're doing like 24 hours to London, like Australia to Europe, say, on China Eastern, this must be China Eastern because it says China Eastern on the screen, or Shanghai Airlines, then yeah, that's going to be rough. Bring your own entertainment, maybe. Download some stuff on Netflix. But I guess, look, for the price and look for this seat, I think if you can get this seat at a specific price, then that's worth it. I'll bring my own entertainment. Final thing, there's surprisingly some Western audio going on here. Western music. Troye Sivan. Interesting pick. I don't hate the music. That's the entertainment system. It's a funny one. Probably, hopefully, the weakest point. Given the China arrival form, I like one of the questions is, which countries and regions have you been to in the past 2 years? And they give you, a box to put it in. I think I'm up to like 15 countries or something, maybe 10, 15. I've got no chance. I can't write them all out. I don't even remember. Second hotel, bit fancy, but also second point, the headphones. Are you ready for this? They are potentially the most gripping, pinching, uncomfortable headphones I've ever worn. Not even on a plane. There's no noise cancelling. They're not great, let's be honest. I've never seen them before though. Usually all of the aeroplane headphones are the same. They're different. Gotta give them that. They're gold. Doesn't mean they're good though. Moment of truth. I think they lock the doors during like takeoff and landing. I know they did that with Qatar Airways as well with the Q Suite doors. I just asked her about it and she unlocked it, so here we go. You pull this little lever here and it just closes. There are slats, so it's not entirely private, but it's pretty nice. There is, of course, a door emergency release where you like lift that up and then the whole thing comes open. And also, interestingly, it doesn't actually latch close and there's a gap. Now,
I believe I read this somewhere that has to do with regulations, because that means that it's actually not a door. I think that just meant that it was easier to get certified with like the FAA, and probably the same with China's aviation authority. I'm not sure about the specific details, but I'm pretty sure the same suite is on a lot of Delta planes as well. Or at least this is the new Delta fancy suite, and they've got the same setup. So the door's not technically a door, it doesn't technically close. Anyway, pineapple juice has just arrived. I guess the meal service is rapid and starting. So we've got nuts, mixed nuts and mixed dried fruit, but they're like separate little baggies. Kind of interesting. First one is raisins and dried cranberries. The other one is cashews and peas. I guess like dried peas. The cashew and the peas were nowhere near incredible. Not some of the incredible nuts that we've had on planes, but edible and not bad. Sometimes they're bad. Could have used a bit more salt. That was literally like a sultana mix. But anyway, food has arrived. It's looking pretty good. Smells pretty good. Got the duck, got the rice, got some vegetables. And it looks like we've got some noodle thing on the side. Nice fruit, a bread roll, some butter, chopsticks. These are excellent metal chopsticks. I really want a pair. They've got a little China Eastern logo on them too. I rarely eat duck, so I can't really comment on the quality of the duck, but it's maybe a tiny bit tough, but like really, really flavorful. It's just that classic Chinese spice thing going on. I don't know. It's subtle, but it's good. This is well and truly a succulent
Chinese meal.
Definitely less of a fan of the cold dish, cold noodle, mushroom. I think it's some sort of meat. Could be duck. Less of a fan of that one. The textures are just a little bit off-putting for my basic palate, I guess. I did not see that coming. It having a filling. It's a bit confusing because they included butter. I thought you should cut it in half and put butter in. But no. I think this is either like a taro pie or like a moon pie thing. I'm not feeling the filling. Or it could be like a sweet potato, purple sweet potato thing. I'm not feeling it. All round, not bad. The duck was definitely the highlight. I guess it's just super impressive because this is an under 2-hour flight. And you get all this. Alright, now this is for the engineers amongst us. The table goes in like this, right? It's obviously stowed inside of here. Now, can anyone tell me why you'd also include a mechanism that lets it go like this? Is it just a parts thing, or is there some logic that I'm missing here? I don't know. If anyone thinks they have a good answer to that one, please let me know in the comments down below. Also, I'm coming to the opinion that pineapple juice is the best juice. So good. So good. Now, obviously, I'm not going to actually sleep on this flight. It's a 2-hour flight, but I got to try this bed mode. Guess we hold this down. My knees are getting crushed a little bit. All right, we're down. This is a little bit interesting because I literally slept on a plane last night. I was on that Garuda Indonesia flight. I'll link it up in the corner if the video's out. Is this better? Is that a power move or what? She just turned off all of the lights. I'm just going to do this bit in the dark because she's absolutely power moved me there. Anyway, bed mode, let's talk about it. It's relatively long, but I mean, I'm 6 foot tall and I've only got, if my feet are touching the bottom, I've only got like 2 or 3 inches of headroom. So if you're much taller, you'd probably struggle. Now, this footwell comes way up your legs. Like your legs are really in this hole. I mean, this is all got to do with the way the seats are all aligned, but my feet are going a long way into that person's bench, basically. I guess, look, if I went all the way up, you can't really lay in bed with your knees like bent. It's not like an incredibly tight footwell just in and of itself. Like there's enough sort of room that my feet, you know, you're not getting a claustrophobic feeling, I guess, with the feet, but there's a lot of footwell and it's not the largest thing in the world. I think this is something that Qatar has really figured out with Q Suites because they had the similar design to this, but it was significantly more spacious. Up top, shoulder-wise, there's enough shoulder room, really. I don't know, you'd have to be like a rugby player in order to have any sort of problems up here. Oh, I look a bit crazy there, but having that door there does make it feel quite a bit more private. But it's not that high of a door, so it feels way more private than obviously the Garuda seat that we did last night, but I wouldn't say it feels significantly more private than the Qantas business class seat or the Philippine Airlines business class suite. Let's just put it this way, Q suites with Qatar, they really nailed the door and everybody else is like trying to figure it out, and I don't think they've quite got it. Yeah, overall, apart from Q suites and like a first class seat, this is up there with the top 2 or 3 in terms of what I'd want to spend, 12 hours on going to Europe. Overall, I've got to say I'm pretty impressed with my first Chinese airline. That one, yeah, they're both the same. Huge! Oh, okay. Well, it's our video, there you go. Oh, that goes down. Wow.
A bigger.
Yeah. Wow, makes it really big.
For 4 people.
Oh, 4 people?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you can eat together, a meeting.
Yeah, meeting.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Wow, thank you. Okay, in the very fun lavatory now. Got the famous Dreamliner single cigarette ashtray. We've only really got like hand wash and hand lotion, very tiny bottles as well. I do like the cute little planes though, they're quite nice. Got big mirror here. Interesting design on the floor. It's different, it's unusual. One of the big things about this plane and this seat is that it's just so incredibly clean. This plane was delivered, I think 4 or 5 years ago, pretty much delivered pre-pandemic or during the pandemic, and China reopened late, and obviously it's an internationally configured plane. It might not have done much flying. That could be why it's so nice and clean. Maybe it's a Shanghai Airlines thing, maybe it's a China Eastern thing, maybe it's Chinese airlines in general. I'm not sure, we'll have to check it out. We've got a few more to come on this trip. I'm starting to see some lights, though I think it's probably just boats. Where are we? Something tells me the plane is not to scale. Also, would you look at that? It says China Eastern on the plane. What airline are we flying? Who knows? I still can't say the name of the airport that we're landing at. I think it's Shanghai Hongqiao. Anyway, the other major airport in Shanghai, the really big one, new one, is Shanghai Pudong. We're flying out of it later on in this trip, but we're flying over it currently. So there it is. It is an absolute mammoth airport. Kind of cool that you just fly directly over the top of it. If I remember correctly, that right there is Disneyland Shanghai.
Oh boy, my favorite seat. Excuse me.
I hope you all enjoyed that video. I thought Shanghai Airlines was surprisingly good. Have you flown them? Let me know in the comments down below. Go subscribe to Wine Tracker Plus to get alerts on the best Qantas wine deals. I know that sounds a bit random, but you'll be buying wine just for the points before you know it. While we're plugging things, go follow me on Instagram. All right, that's enough. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.
You may know him as Simon Dean from the WWE. Congratulations on a successful career. Thanks for the friendship and thanks for all the memories.
There's a dude smoking in the lobby. Oh, China.